guys, this is Mike Battolino here, co-host of the Strong Tongue podcast. Just want to take a second to talk to you about Lurong Living Essential. Lurong Living Essential is the only drug-free deer antler product in the world. And now you can get 30% off Lurong Living Essential using code StartingStrongman. Just a little bit of background. I've been using this product for about 4 years to help my recovery, my joints, and my ligaments. It is fantastic. I found out about it actually at the MHP Clydesdale games back in 2013, and one of the other competitors was sporting some of their gear. I've been taking it since then. Definitely helps my recovery. Can't recommend it enough. So if you go to lurongliving.com, and we'll put a link at the bottom of this, you can use code StartingStrongman to save 30% on Lurong Living Essential.
Awesome. And this show is also brought to you by Kabuki Strength. If you go to kabukistrength.com, use the code SS10, you save 10% off all of their products. I think Mike's a big fan of them. Between the Shoulder Rock, the Duffalo bar, they got some new bars coming out, and even just a whiskey and deadlift shirt. What's your favorite Kabuki product, Mike?
Probably the boomstick or the pain pill.
Yeah, they got those, help you out with your recovery. And again, that's kabukistrength.com. Just no slash, just use the code SS10 at checkout to save 10%. This show is also brought to you by Starting Strongman. You can go to store.startingstrongman.com for all of your training needs. You can sign up for training templates. Proven programming for the sport of strongman delivered right to your phone for $15 a month. Right on an app, you get it right there. A 4-week template. You just need basic, mild experience and access to common strongman events. And if you can go to strongmanprogram.com to sign up for that. And if you use the code StrongTalk, you'll save $5 a month, making it only $10 a month. I mean, doesn't get much better of a deal than that. And of course, you can sign up for personalized coaching with myself, Mike, or our other, qualified coaches on staff. You can just fill out the inquiry, the intake form at strongmancoach.com, and we'll help you prepare for your next contest. I feel like if you're just training and you want some general training, the templates work pretty good for that. But if you have a specific contest coming up, you definitely want to jump on the one-on-one training is what I'd recommend. And, thanks for listening, and here's your show. Welcome to another episode of the Strong Talk podcast. I am Kalle Beck, joined by my co-host, Michael Battolino.
Good day, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. We're just going to talk a little, just us, talk about strongman and what's going on, and pretty much just keep it to the continent of Africa this week. That's where, where everything strongman happens.
Apparently, yeah.
It's not England. It's not America. It's not there. It's Africa. So we got the Arnold Classic South Africa, or I think they called it South Africa for a while. Now it's just Arnold Classic Africa. Just happened yesterday. I think the amateurs wrapped up today. We'll talk a little bit about that, and then we'll preview World's Strongest Man, which is happening in, by the time you're listening to this, probably about any day now. When the hell does it start? Like,
is it 2 weeks from today?
Yeah, so it's May.
Well, maybe 2 weeks from tomorrow. Very close to that.
Yeah, so it's about 2 weeks away. So the athletes will probably be getting there, hopefully, within a couple, pretty much less than 2 weeks from now. So let's jump into it. First off, how are you doing, Mike? And training for the Dallas Europa. How's that all going?
It is going very well. I got some buddies coming over next weekend that are also doing the Europa, driving in. So a couple more heavy sessions, and then it should be a really good competition. I'm gonna have fun. This will be one of the last Platinum Pluses I probably do as a super heavyweight. So, and it's pretty reasonable. And after that, do the whole 231 thing next year.
Just getting skinny.
You're just wasting away to nothing.
Well, the whole like I'm 30 something and I don't want to. It seems a lot more fun when you're like 20 to try to be 300 pounds. I think
it does.
And then like you live with it for a bit, and then you start getting the cranky. I've been doing strength. I've been doing strength sports since I was in my early for over 10 years now, and being heavier is just not fun. So that's kind of a natural progression, I think, and I think it'll do you well. So let's get into the Arnold. South Africa is the way to put it. We had who, let's see, who all is competing at Worlds that went, which I think is just Matthias Kielkowski, JF Caron.
JF Caron.
Rob,
Is Ronald Heinle going?
no.
He's not. Okay.
There's a story about that, but I don't want to. I don't know if I should talk about it.
Interesting.
Yeah. Just Google his name and see what pops up. I think Johan Els is going. JF Caron, Robert Kearney, of course, and Jerry is not going. Of course, sadly he tore his bicep in the frame carry at the Arnold Africa. So hope he has a speedy recovery. It looks like he'll probably, he posted a picture this morning of it kind of spreading and the kind of bruising up, and probably going to need surgery on this one. So hopefully he has a speedy recovery. So
now, do you think there'll be another like Generation Iron little video montage, including a letter written about this? Kale, do you know where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Shall we let the listeners in?
Of course. If you don't, if you haven't went and watched it, they did. It's on YouTube. There's a little documentary that Generation Iron put out, and is obviously funded by his nutrition sponsor ALR, and they kind of they more show Jerry's personal life. It's also up on startingstrongman.com, and and we were both at the Cavs, which was last chance Arnold Classic qualifier last December, and Jerry competed there to qualify for the Arnold Classic, and in there he kind of had like a little, I think had like a smaller tear doing the Stone of Steel on his bicep, and his daughter had a lovely handwritten note saying how amazing he is, and then she was very smart. I like when kids do stuff like this where they read things but then realize that they're like, oh, I'm gonna skip that word, but it had some disparaging words to be said about the Stone of Steel event in general. Not a fan of spacers and washers, I guess.
So what's funny about that though is that it's like an Easter egg, because when they made that, they're like, let's just zoom in on the letter real quick and see if anyone catches this. And she reads it and she skips over that word.
Yeah.
But you can catch it if you watch it. I don't even know. How did you find out about that? Did someone notice and send it to you?
I got it. Yeah, that got sent to me. Like any, what could be gossip in strongman gets sent to me before.
It does.
Yeah, before I could even have it. I didn't even have a chance to watch the documentary yet. But and then it was posted about a couple times. Like, did you catch that? Which, it's honestly, gets more people talking about, Mike Bartow's equipment, which I hear you've bought even more of, which I didn't know was possible.
Yeah. He posted yesterday about the axle. He's like, got a couple training axles from the Chicago Fit Expo, and I was like, and I just texted him. I said, "You still have one of the axles?" He's like, "Yep." I was like, "All right, I'll PayPal you."
Yeah.
He's like, "Sweet man, thanks." I was like, "Yeah." I said, "When I open a gym in a few years, we'll just outfit the whole place with your stuff." So
I think
that's the plan anyway.
Pretty much already have.
I don't. The only thing I don't have is the deadlift platform and the keg, and I plan on getting a keg at nationals if if he's got any left over after. So, and then maybe at some point when I open a gym, I'll get the deadlift platform.
Yeah, I'd probably get one of the deadlift platforms if I had a gym or I deadlifted. But
one of my buddies messaged me. He said, "What type of vacation are you funding for Mike Bartos at this point? Is he going to like Jamaica or something?" And
Probably just driving his van to the next Fit Expo, honestly.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So hope for a speedy recovery with Jerry Pritchett.
He does seem to recover fast, so I'm sure he'll be okay.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be fine. He probably has, with not going to Worlds. People get a little mixed up. They go, because it said he wasn't going to Worlds because he's injured. But people don't understand, and they go, well, then someone's doing this other show, and they don't get that Worlds is like 2 weeks long, and it's going to be shown on TV, 6 months after the fact, which everyone complains about later on. So you don't want to not have like that perfect performance at Worlds, because then that's what people remember, right? Because it's shown on television everywhere. So if you are too banged up for Worlds, you can do a different pro show and still get top 5 like he did, and it's not a big a deal. It's not going to be broadcast to millions of people on CBS and Channel 5 and in the UK and everything. But
did you figure out or did anyone figure out on Flow Elite what they're going to be streaming from Worlds?
they're not streaming anything from Worlds.
So what was that? What did they have
It's
it on there for?
events they're going to be covering. It also says they'll be covering CrossFit. Right below it says CrossFit Regionals, CrossFit Games, etc. So they'll be doing, updates on, they'll be watching the same spreadsheet I do, and then.
So that no one's going out there to interview athletes or anything. Okay, cool.
No, but they're not streaming World's Strongest Man.
Oh, really? I thought they were going to have a stream this year.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
Kidding.
I woke up, the Arnold South Africa, obviously, or Arnold Africa, is obviously not World's Strongest Man, right? But it still had a lot of talented athletes. It was live streamed for free. Stream was decent. It started at 1 a.m. here, like 3 a.m. your time. Did you wake up to watch it?
No.
Yeah. So would you wake up, for 2 weeks straight at 3 a.m. to watch World's Strongest Man live?
Not that hardcore. Now, maybe the final event.
Yeah.
If it was like Stones, Z versus Shaw for a 5th title, I'd probably wake up at 3 a.m. Anything besides that, probably not.
And we do a freaking podcast about strongman, so it's like you can't get too much more invested than you or I. I mean, it's my business, and I'd be like, I'd be not happy about having to wake up at 3 a.m. Again, being in my 30s, I remember when I was 20, I'd watch, MMA fights in Japan and be like, this is awesome, this is fun, like watch Pride events, but I don't know. I just don't think it's not there. And people then watch the Arnold Africa and they're like, they're not saying the weights, they're not doing this, and which are valid points, but it's not live streamed for a reason. The reason why it's fun to watch is because it's put together well and packaged into a nice little TV show. That's what you remember about it.
Yeah.
Could it be live streamed at some point? It would be great. Yeah, probably, or at least released quicker. But 89 people were watching it when I woke up at when I turn it on at 6:30, which is also it's 9:30 Eastern, so on a Saturday, and no one was watching it there. So the answer is, why isn't Strongman live stream more? Because people complain if it costs money. People complain if it's free about the announcers, and 90 people watch it. So you can't.
What we get more than 90 people for? Listening to this podcast.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Because they also, if we told people, hey, you could listen to us talk live, there'd be less people watching it. Live events are a thing of a past in general.
Yeah.
The reason why we get more than 90 listeners is because they can just listen to it whenever the hell they want, on any sort of device without any sort of work. They don't have to set their alarm. Like if we were doing like a morning talk show, radio show, like people did in the past, and you might get, the radio hosts had to wake up at like 4 a.m, and they still do to do that, because that's the only time that they're going to have that captive audience. But that's not how the world works. We work on demand entertainment. Like, even there's been, a couple thousand views on, posting the Arnold Africa results on Starting Strongman, but, on the website. But that's, people just want to look after the fact. Like, they're not invested enough to have to take time out of their day to watch 6 hours of, of content and then wait for them to adjust the yokes in between. They want a little clip. Oh, Rob Kearney got third in the yoke. That was a really cool run. Oh, that was for that much weight. He really moved good. Like, they want to see those little segments that are invested that much, but not enough to want to watch 7 hours of entertainment. Or, that's or just 7 hours of a show in general. Like, we've been to live shows, and I don't pay attention half the time because it's just like, it kind of goes on.
You're like, I'll catch it on Instagram later.
Yeah, exactly. It's good like that.
Jumping into the Arnold South Africa, I'm looking through these results right now, and I saw, is it Jitse Kramer?
What was that? Oh,
is
yeah.
Jitse Kramer? Dude, I saw his name. I looked up briefly, saw his name, and I immediately thought of Michael Richards doing like a truck pull on a frame carry. Can you, like, Michael Richards getting second in the frame carry with 370 kilos? I mean, it sounds pretty awesome.
He really, I think that would be the main talk here. It was this guy, I think he's from Holland, who I've never heard of, took second and did very well.
Oh, he was second overall?
Or I believe so. Let's scroll down.
Oh, fifth overall. Well, no, that's yoke.
No, all the way down, Mike.
All the way down. Yep. Yeah, Michael Richards second. Yeah.
So, yeah, he got just a point above Hinla, Rano, and he zeroed the log, but by then they dropped it down to the top 6. I guess Rob Kearney, you'd think he has a good shot at a 190 kilo log, but he couldn't clean it. Is what I heard.
Pretty. Was it? This wasn't the. It wasn't the standard submit log, was it? That one stays in Australia. Which log was it?
I don't think that thing gets shipped. It was probably whatever the hell's around in Africa. I haven't seen any. I heard it was. I was waiting for it to be live streamed on the same live stream thing, and then I guess they live streamed it on Facebook, on their Facebook page. So I was like, what the hell? They didn't even announce it. But then I realized I did the exact same thing at California's Strongest Woman.
Yeah.
Where I live streamed every event on one platform, and then it stopped working. So I just got out my phone and did the stones on Facebook, and a lot of people were mad. So I couldn't get that mad that I missed it because of that, because I did the same thing. But we ended up, the top 3 ended up being Kilkowski. He was the most consistent and ran away with it and got enough points in the deadlift again to, keep his points. And then Jitse Kramer of, I believe, Holland got 40 points. Jeff Cron in third with 37.5, even though I heard that when they announced the awards that they announced, I think Henla ended up getting 30. Yeah, sorry. Henla should be Rano Henla should be in third with 39 points, and JF Cron 37.5 because Henla got a rep on the log to get 5 points and leapfrog JF, who couldn't
leapfrog. I like that.
Yeah, but I heard that when they were announcing it that they announced JF as third, so I don't know if they're doing something different with the points. So who knows?
Interesting. We'll get to the login. We'll get to the login in a minute. I guess we'll start at the beginning. Let's see. So, is this in order of how the events were?
Yeah.
They started with the truck pull. 3. I like 20 meters with 3 speed bumps and no rope. Interesting.
Yeah, and you can go back and watch it. That same live stream, I believe, and it's all up. I have embedded on the, on Starting Strongman website and you can go back and watch it again. So if you want to fast forward through all the boring parts, that's the good thing about it being live streamed, is that you can go back and watch it, hopefully. But yeah. So Johan Ellis, who's from South Africa, won the event. Or Els, JF Karan. Rob Kearney got off to a rough start, getting 10th in that event, and then kind of climbed his way all the way back out. We don't really have to go through every event with this. I don't want to.
Let's see. Frame, 370 frame, pretty heavy frame.
Yeah, Jerry Pritchett tore his bicep. Kilkowski was fast again in the frame.
2 Mateuses.
Yeah, the dueling Mateuses went both in the top 3. Mateus, I got to learn another Polish name now. Ostrzewski, he won the Arnold Amateur, so he's kind of getting more on the pro scene.
Max tired deadlift. Was that from the ground?
It wasn't. It wasn't. Well, they were standing on boxes,
Oh, okay.
and there was really big tires, and they're standing on boxes. I just reposted a photo of Kearney's 920 or 925, whatever 420 kilos is pole, and it on an Instagram, and it looks like it's pretty close to standard height. Like it doesn't look like it's like 13 inches. Like it looks about right at about nine
Yeah.
inch.
Okay. Okay. I see this. Yeah.
But I'm not entirely certain where it was. But still, I remember I was Jerry still won it with a torn bicep because the best deadlifter in America, one of the best deadlifters in the world, even with half an arm missing, is still going to be the best deadlifter at an Arnold event.
Ridiculous.
I know.
I don't want to know how that feels.
No.
But I am kind of curious.
Yeah. Well, if we get him on again, we'll have to ask him. What's it feel like to pick up 440 kilos with a torn bicep? It's a good question. But Kearney, 420 kilograms. It's a little surprising, I think, even to himself, because I briefly talked to him on Facebook that the night before or his morning of the contest, and I was like, he was just kind of gunning to get top 6 to get in that final event with the log, was the goal. And he said, yeah, I'm really looking forward. I really want to pull 880 pounds, 400 kilos today.
880 to 920 is that's awesome.
Yeah, but he was going in like a goal to PR
Right,
880 and pulled 920. So he's definitely getting strong, with his up in the body weight and looking ready for Worlds. And didn't look like any of the events tore him up too much. I think it's interesting that I think it's like in 10 days he pretty much has to go back to Africa, but he's not staying there, I don't think.
Yeah, that's a hell of a trip.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what would he do? What would he do while he's there, though? I don't know.
I don't know. I'd probably go home too.
Martins would probably walk.
He'd walk from Johannesburg
without eating.
Yeah, Martins would go on a fast, walk from Johannesburg to Botswana.
Kill all his food, anything that he needed to eat, he would kill it, and then probably make the finals without eating.
Yeah,
so
that's exactly what he'd do. But yeah, that's big congrats to that 420 kilos. It seems like like you said, a lot of athletes. Well, not a lot, but you see athletes get up to that 400 kilo range, and then getting past that into the 900s is it's like a whole other world.
I'm kind of surprised Dimitar. I guess it went 400 to 420 because that's about Dimitar's PR. I think is 420. I could be wrong.
He's hit 420, 425 a couple times.
Yeah.
But he's I think banged up in general.
Yeah, which I hope he's good for Worlds. Wish him the best too.
Yeah, they get those nice 2 weeks to rest and recover.
Him and the corgis will rest and recover.
Sure. And yoke walk, Kilkowski again.
Smoked it.
Kearney got top 3. Jerry didn't need a bicep for that and took second. And Atlas Stone, Hinla really killed that with 180 kilos for 7 reps. And then you end up with into the finals, 190 kilo log at the end of a long day, because they take a big break and they do it on the main stage like they do a lot of the Arnold. So I think that's almost worse than you do 5 events, then you have to take like a 3-4 hour break, show up, go back to your hotel room, get back, then have to lift a 190 kilo log.
Yeah, you get cooled down, and then
that's
that was, I don't know, man. I don't know how you feel about this, but if you're consistently going, what do we got? How many Arnolds we got now? 5
at least. I don't know. It feels like there's 20 of them.
And if you're going all the time, and it's always over 400 log, that's gonna beat you up eventually. Honestly, I'm good with I think 170 would be fine.
Well,
for anything besides the main Arnold.
This is I think it's kind of tough because the main purpose of the Arnolds now is qualify for the main Arnold. So you can't make it too light. You want to make it a different type of contest. But if you want it as like a series where you want the athletes to be able to do these every 2-3 weeks, like it seems they are during the season and perform, then it kind of does need to be a little lighter. I don't know.
Because so let's see, the log at the main Arnold this year, they lightened it. It was slightly lighter. So was it 195? Was it 430?
I think it was 200 kilos, like 440. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, but yeah, it's not. It's only 10 kilos or so is not a big difference.
Yeah. Then you get you got two guys and everyone else zeroed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's not as. Does the crowd really know the difference between 170 and 190? But the athletes certainly do.
They don't at all. Yeah, I think that would be a good rule of thumb, is that any of the smaller Arnolds, the log that you lift shouldn't be heavier than the light log at the main Arnold. That's probably a good rule of thumb if you want to look at it. But the other thing that they did this 2 weeks ago at the Arnold Brazil, they cut the athletes down to 6, and then they have a heavy press, which everyone loves to press at the end. Generally in contests they're at the beginning, like, let's do that's how you have your best performances. But then, more than half of those finalists then zero it on the main stage. I just don't see how that's putting, when you're having the most eyeballs with the whole bodybuilding crowd, like usually it's in between the bodybuilding or whatever. I'm not sure exactly how this was structured. They have they have a less of a warm-up area because it's the main stage. And then you got to make them go out and do a heavy press, which is the most technical lift, you could say, Yeah. And then more than half of them zero. Like, I don't think that's putting the sport in a good light. Like, when you're like, all these people are waiting for the bodybuilder, and then they just see another guy. Oh, he couldn't lift it. Oh, he couldn't lift it. Oh, that guy lifted it. I don't know.
It doesn't. Kind of like we were talking about yesterday with that other competition. Everything doesn't need to be perfectly standardized. And that's kind of somewhat of the allure of strongman. But you have to have, there has to be something.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have like a spreadsheet that says, like exactly what you said, okay, the smaller Arnolds, if you will, don't have any logs that are heavier than the featherweight log at the main Arnold.
Right.
If that's what you're prepping your athletes for.
And if we're talking about pro strongman, I feel like there should be some, between compensation and level of difficulty there should be some correlation. If you win $80,000 to win the Pro Arnold and have to lift a 10 kilo heavier log compared to $10,000 to win one of these other Arnolds, which what I've heard, then, it's only 10 kilos less. Like, I don't know, you're putting your body through pretty much the same amount of abuse for almost a tenth of the total, probably total prize, probably a tenth of it. So, my opinion. Well, let's talk about
that a good transition point to the world's strongest man.
Yeah, and about the whole, there's some talk about pros paying their own way, who shouldn't go there. I put up a post in the forum because I'm not putting rants on Facebook anymore because I'm sick of it. It doesn't help me anyway. So if people actually care, it's on startingstrongman.com/forums. It says I'm not a pro, because I am not a pro strongman. I would love to hold that title. I can talk about it a million, but I put a little blog post up about it, and that gives my overall thoughts. And you can also get that in the Starting Strongman app, which you can download in the App Store or on Google Play. Just search Starting Strongman. Anyways, World's Strongest Man. Let's talk. And here's what I love. I love some of these websites that I see that are predicting the finals already. You can't predict how the finals are going to go without seeing who gets through to the qualifiers. Because
what percentage of these guys honestly gets hurt every year during either the warm-ups for the first part of the contest or throughout the competition? You don't want to see people get hurt, but honestly, that plays a role.
And also, I see is no one takes into account stuff like who competed at the Arnold Brazil 4 weeks before, then the Arnold Africa 2 weeks before. Like, people just don't even
Who's the healthiest? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like everyone makes their predictions based on last year's World's Strongest Man. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, there are only a handful of people that are like, I'm not doing anything right before Worlds,
No,
like Shaw,
like Shaw,
Z,
Eddie Hall,
Thor, Eddie Hall.
and even those have done less in the past. But you look like, especially Thor. Thor's past couple of years competed and filmed like crazy, and he's like, no, this year I got one goal. So you have to take stuff into that account. You can't base your idea on the sport of strongman on what happens 1 week a year every year. It's just not how it works. Like that'd be like, oh, the NBA finals are again. You're not going to take into account who rolled their ankle or if they've been on a slump, how they've been looking in general. Like there's a lot of things that go into it. But unfortunately, for the vast majority of people that even care about the sport, the only real exposure they have to it is that 1 week a year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and the other thing about you have to see so let's say like the finals, they're very static this year. So there could be that separation between if Eddie Hall wins a Viking press and Shaw could get third or fourth depending on who else gets into the finals that's a more static lifter that's going to have that separation in the points.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are the things you have to factor in. Like if there's a heavy log, and Dimitar's in, he's good at log historically or etc. Who's going to kind of break things up? Like Mike Burke, would get in between Shaw a couple years, his last couple ones he got in between Shaw, and that's why Z won, or one of the reasons. So those are all big factors. Like what big deadlifters come into play that could
Yep.
or cost Thor points in the squat, etc. So let's go. Let's break it down.
Group one.
Yeah, group one. Go
stacked.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, dude.
Go through.
I wouldn't want to be
go
that
through
group.
all five real quick.
Okay.
What do you think is the hardest group?
All right. So let's see. So we got group one. We've got Shaw, Carone. Solid. Group two: Dimitar, Thor, Jim Keck, Luke Stoltman, Martins. Group two's tough. Let's see. Three.
They're all tough.
They're all tough. Man, I'm gonna go with one.
Yeah. Well,
You? I'm gonna go with one.
One has what? Four World's Strongest Man finalists.
Four finalists. Yep.
Yeah, and
Yep.
four finalists in it. Even all, and then three of them are pretty much perennial finalists, including 4 times World's Strongest Man. So, any group that Brian Shaw's in, you got to go, okay, who out of this is going to also get in?
Man, I wouldn't. Between Corona is always underrated.
Mm-hmm.
Historically, Belsack is incredibly talented. Cole Wolf is good, and he's fun to watch his training. I don't know, I really like it. And he posts a lot. He posts a lot of his training.
Yeah.
So he's like Mike. He posts everything.
Yeah, I'm fans of Combe Wolf. I think it's going to be a little tough for him to get out of this heat. But we do have to talk about this on what the hell the last man standing stone is, because that changes everything.
Yeah,
I almost forgot.
I like how it says on here. It says last man standing, but it doesn't say stone.
No.
So you can just imagine it's some sort of battle to the death.
So, in the constant effort to make athletes have to do the Atlas stones for TV production, it seems, they've tried stuff like awarding double points in the past, which I think's ridiculous. It's funny. It came up in like my Facebook memories, like me making some rant about that, 3 years ago or something. So I'm not sure exactly how this works, but from what I understand is now, so if you have the most points in your group, you advance to the finals. If you have the second most points in your group, you don't necessarily advance to the finals. Basically, you're earning those points to then go to have a better chance because everyone else goes before you on the stone. So it seems to be head to head. There's been a lot of talk on how heavy the stone is going to be. I think it's going to be about 180 kilos.
That sounds right. Yeah,
400
180.
pounds. 396, I think that is. So sixth and fifth go against each other until one of them can't get a rep. I don't know if it's like they're throwing it back and forth, or that would be kind of cool, I think. Like if it's a stone over bar and you're passing it to each other almost. I don't know what the setup looks like. And then once someone can't do it, I don't know what the time limit. Don't know any real details, basically. And then so once one of those can't do it, then the winner has to go against the fourth place person. And so basically you could, in theory, if you're like an amazing stone lifter and can do a ton of reps with a stone, could end up getting sixth place through the first 5 events and then make it to the finals on event 6, in theory. Probably unlikely to happen.
Good stone loaders in Group 1.
Yeah.
Caron, Felix, and Belsack.
Stoltman.
Stoltman's, yeah.
He, I think, got second or even won the stones at Britain's Strongest Man.
And Colm Wolf is a good stone loader, too. I mean, obviously, Shaw's pretty good at stones.
Yeah,
I'll throw that out there.
Yeah, Shaw's definitely pretty good. That's how I understand this last man standing. I think it's going to, for the casual fan, it's going to make for really good television.
Yeah.
As far as a legitimate sport, you're giving, it's more of like a circus show than like this is how you really see who's the most qualified to make it to the finals.
So, do we want to make predictions for Group 1?
Yeah. So, because
I'm gonna say Shaw. I think is gonna make the finals. What do you think?
As long as he can, battle it back from 6th place and load that stone enough times.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, definitely Shaw's gonna get in the finals, and probably fairly easily, I'd imagine. But yeah, it's really hard to make the predictions with that last man standing stone. Because it's just like I don't even know how it's contested, so I don't even know how it's going to happen, like what could happen. But let's just say who's going to be in second going into that event is a lot easier, because and we got a load and drag, a log lift, fingal fingers, deadlift, overhead toss. I mean, I think depending on how heavy the log is, I think Felix has a good shot. Especially with the last man standing stone. Belsack's deadlifts improved a lot. I don't know how he is on the fingal fingers, but I'm looking at it. I'm gonna say Belsack's gonna be sitting in second. He seems to be a little healthier. I don't think JF's hurt, but there's some good pressers in this group. Well, Calm's pretty good presser. I think JF might lose a couple points in that to Belsack, who might even win it.
But he might pick it up on the deadlift. Because Caron's got a great deadlift when he's on.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, but I'd say it's between Belsack and Caron that are going to be in that second seed going into the last man standing event. Let's go Group 2.
Yeah, because Caron pulled 435.
Yeah, just under 440. Belsack, I don't remember what he was he pulled the Europe's Strongest Man a pretty decent weight. It's definitely improved. But I think it's more in that 400 kilo range, maybe 420.
So Caron or Belsack. Group 1. And overhead toss, fingers. All right, Group 2?
Yeah, we got Dimitar Savatinov, Hafthor Bjornsson, Jimmy Paku. We're gonna butcher some names. He's a lighter, like real stacked guy from Canada. I saw him at like one of the Giants Live Norway or something. And he was pretty impressive. Loaded some big stones. I think he's like 265, 270.
Wow.
But yeah, explosive, good athlete. Got Luke Stolten, Tom's brother, Martins, and
that's an interesting. What is this the first time we've had brothers in World's Strongest Man?
I feel like it had to. It's the first time they've both been at World's Strongest Man. It might be the first time they've ever. It's interesting. Luke's the one that's been there before. Tom's
Yes.
like 6 inches taller, something weird. Like, they're both tall, but then like Tom's like really tall. So I think he might be a handful in that stone event. Luke is the one that got second in the stones at Britain's Strongest Man, I believe. I might be wrong. People can complain to me. We're doing this all on the fly, no research. But yeah, that's definitely interesting. I'm sure that especially on the British broadcast, which I feel is a lot better quality, they'll probably bring that up as a nice storyline. Martins and
Martins.
yes, Martins and
Martins.
Raphael
Raphael.
from Germany, who he was at Europe's as well. So we're picking
Thor.
number one,
Thor.
Hafthor
Yes.
Bjornsson. And I feel like this is a pretty interesting group. We got to look at the events: load and drag, squat lift, truck pull, overhead press, overhead toss, and last man standing.
Well, you uh, obviously Thor,
Mm-hmm.
and then between Martins and Dimitar, it seems so. Dimitar is a little bit banged up. Martins was a little bit banged up, but based on the fact Martins smoked a 926 deadlift yesterday, and then squatted really heavy the other day, and it looked easy. I think he's healthier right now
Yeah,
than Dimitar.
I think so.
So, but then again, I mean, Dimitar beat Martins at the Cas. So that'll be tough. I mean, because I would say Martins probably because he's closer to 100% right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to see him go. I want to see him go back and forth, of course, because Dimitar has made the finals before.
Well,
so
let's break it down between the two athletes, event by event. Load and drag. Who do you pick between Martins and Dimitar?
Martins.
Right. Squat. Dimitar probably. Likely.
Normally I would,
I
but
don't know.
Dimitar, Martins has improved his squat a lot.
Yeah, Martins has an underrated squat, and I think he's trained it very specific. How he does those like long eccentrics, I think works really well for this style of squat. Where you see some people that even have like good totals in powerlifting really struggle in the squat because it's with the fixed axle bar, you have to do it high bar.
Yeah.
And having to touch the uprights and it doesn't rotate. If you try to do like a really low bar squat and you don't have control over it, it just doesn't really work. So I think Martin's squatting style carries over really well. And I haven't seen, has Dimitar ever had a squat in his group? You'd think he'd be good at it, but yeah, I think that's almost a toss up. Truck pull, I have to go with Martins.
Me too. Overhead press, if Dimitar, if it's an axle.
Yeah, or some sort of barbell. I'm going to say Dimitar
Yeah.
wins that. The overhead toss, I think this is going to be the key event.
And
Martins has very struggled with it. You'd think he'd be very good at it. He didn't do well at the Arnold. He didn't do good at the. He did.
Well, the Arnold was the injury. That was this year, but he did zero it in the finals last year.
Exactly. So I heard he's been working on it. So, but I feel like it's more of a technical issue than like he's not athletic or anything. So, if he put the right emphasis on it, he should do well. But yeah, I think that the overhead toss is what is going to be the key factor. And of course, then stones. Then we go into last man standing stones. Even if they're 2 and 3, I like Martin's chances on a 400 stone for reps.
Yeah, and I was actually, let's see. So the stones yesterday, Dimitar zeroed the 180, which was surprising. I mean, because he can load a 200 stone. So I'm not sure. I don't know if that was an injury that prevented that. I don't know.
Yeah, we also, again, when I say a 400 stone, I don't know if it's 400 pounds. I feel like that would be a good weight for it.
180, I think 180, 170 maybe. No, it wouldn't be lighter than 170. I don't think.
I hope not.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna go with Hafthor and Martins out of Group 2.
Yeah, with Dimitar still having a shot, but because Martins is healthier right now, it appears so. So, all right, Group 3, we got Johan Els, then the Georgian Bull, Konstantin Janashia, Big Laws, who hit a 400 log yesterday, which
nice.
I don't know if that was a PR. I don't know. I know. I mean, I know he's been working on his he's been working on his overhead a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
Shivlikov, Mikhail Leicht. Is it Leicht? Is
Leaked,
that how you
like,
pronounce?
yeah, very strong presser and squat.
And then Rob Kearney making his first appearance at Worlds.
Yeah, awesome to see.
Oh yeah.
The first actual person interviewed on Strong Talk.
Oh yeah.
Way back. It was the only actual guest that Obi and I ever had.
Oh man,
And
I need to go back and listen to that one again.
we just talked about how cute Joey is. That's pretty much all we talked about. But yeah, that was like episode like 14 or something. So anyways, Johan Els won the truck pole this past weekend at the Arnold Africa, but that was without a rope. But so that's an interesting fact. He's obviously good at it. Man, this is actually a tough group.
It is. Yeah, we didn't. Yeah.
It's almost, it might be the hardest group in the fact that I feel everyone's very even.
Yeah, everyone's got a better shot. Yeah.
I feel Laws is definitely the you could say is the favorite.
Yeah.
Um, but he always seems to get injured at Worlds. I hope he doesn't. Janasia is improving and seems to, improving. He got fourth last year and looked amazing, and he seemed to peak very well compared to other contests. Like he's definitely putting a focus on Worlds compared to some of the other athletes. Oh, and Shivlikov's he's very strategic. I like how he competes. He's smart about the events. He's done a lot of contests, and he's definitely he games it. Like his little bunny hop he did at the Arnold Classic was great, which we talked about. But yeah, we got load and drag. Let's just go event. Who do you feel wins the load and drag out of that group?
You can't count Laws out.
I'd say Janasia.
Janasia,
Or load and
Shivlikov.
so load and drag.
Janasia and Laws, Shivlikov close, and then the rest of them I'm sure will do well. But
I'm thinking back to last year in like the sandbag medley. I remember Janasia being very
just
fast.
smoking it.
Yeah.
That was his first. This guy with giant traps, just doing well at that load. Yeah.
That's what I remember. So I see him winning. I think he's who I'd pick in that event. Then we go into the log. Leaked has like I think a 200 kilo log. Shivlikov is actually underrated in the log lift, I think.
Around 190, maybe?
Yeah, maybe 200, maybe 195. Rob,
And then
of course, won the log, world championships.
Yeah. Pretty good at log. Pretty proficient
So
at log.
I'd say between Kearney and McKell, a very different style of log lifting, but I'd say between those two in that event.
What are you thinking? 140 or 150 kilos for reps?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be for reps. Yeah, maybe 160, probably 150. It's what 330.
Yeah, and if it's, I think Laws yesterday hit. Am I making up that he did 3 sets of 5 at 150 kilos? Let's see if I'm making that up. I might be. Big Laws, because he hit a 400 single, and then he hit some sets of 5 with 152 after. So his overhead.
I'm gonna say it's 160 then. So yeah, his overhead's definitely improving, especially for reps in that weight range. So he'll be up there as well too. Yeah, and a lot of it comes down to who's good on the clean. Shivlikov's actually very good. I think that's gonna be a very competitive log lift. Honestly,
it will, and I wonder. I've never seen Rob do more than a triple. I mean, a super heavy triple, but more than a triple with the split jerk, because it is going to take him a little bit more time.
Well, he won't need to if it's that light.
Yeah, he'll just either one motion it or like a push jerk.
So yeah, I think that's going to be somewhat of a toss up. It could go a bunch of different ways. Truck pull will be big points. Rob struggled in the truck pull this past weekend in Africa, as we talked about. I think you have to give it up to Johan Els, of course, just won he won the Arnold Africa truck pull, but that was without a rope, so it might be a very different setup. I think you have to give it up to experience with Laws. In that maybe I don't know. This is a tough group. I'm just gonna throw it out there that Janashia and Shivlikov advance. No, I'm not even gonna throw any rhyme or reason into it. I think it's a tough one. I think Laws could. Group 3 has the elephant carry. That's going to be a big event.
And we're talking. Okay, so now if I'm thinking back, the last time they carried something like that, did Marius? Was it Marius? They carry. Are we talking like that? What does the elephant carry look like? Is it like an elephant statue that's really heavy?
It's going to be like the Africa stone. So yeah, it'll be.
Oh, so it is. Okay, so it's going to be like the Africa stone. Okay.
It'll be some sort of Husafell.
Well, what was the? Do you remember what I'm talking about? Was it an elephant?
The China?
No, yeah. What was that?
It was like It was like some sort of like pot that's made to like make something. It was like you like grind rice flour in it to make whatever. It was like some sort of weird barrel thing. So it might be something like that. But yeah, anyways, it's gonna be a front carry for distance, which we haven't seen in a long time, which I'm happy to see.
So deadlift. Rob's deadlift has improved a lot. Laws can pull well. Janashia pulls around 9. Am I making that up?
Mm-hmm.
He pulls around 9. Right?
Yeah.
And then Shivlikov pulls a little over 9. I think he's pulled 420.
Yep.
So that'll be, man, this is a tough group to call.
I think it's gonna be one of the funner groups to watch. It'll be a lot of back and forth.
I want to see. I want to see Laws get back to the finals. I hate seeing him get injured every year.
I just this group will come down to. So I say it all the time. I think about it all the time is that certain events are pretty easy to judge with variables. Like you can kind of tell by like a deadlift, a log lift. We kind of stones. We kind of know where everyone is. But events like truck pull and a max distance carry there's a lot more variables there that can go wrong, or there can be bigger point swings between the lifters. So those two events will decide who goes to the finals. And of course, the last man standing stones, which that makes
I'd like to see Rob make it. It'll be tough, but I mean, he has a shot.
Yeah,
he definitely has a shot.
He hit the stone for 2 fairly easy and stopped because I feel like he knew what he needed to do to make the top 6. But yeah, let's go into group 4.
Okay, Ari Gunnarsson, Thor's training partner.
Yep, Derek Devon. Very
so
good.
Real quick, while we're talking about Iceland, do we think that Stefan Solveig is an alternate?
No.
He's not.
No, I think he was just training.
He's training with them,
he's training with
right
Thor,
now.
So he's training the events.
Okay. I'd like to see him come back, though, of course.
Isn't he competing in Texas?
That's a great point.
He is.
I think you're right. That's
ISF 1, which I just booked my tickets to. So
yeah,
international strongman coming to Texas again. Obi's going to be competing, and I'll be helping him out and doing some athlete interviews. I got a good group of people. I think it's internationalstrongmanfederation.com or something. And June 9th or 10th, it ends up happening, and it'll be a fun event. If you're around, you should come check it out. Anyways, we'll talk more about that in the future. But Group 4, yeah, we got Derek Devon, very, very good at loads and drags. I'm going to pick him to win that. We got
he's a huge dude.
Yeah, he's pretty big.
You see him in person, you're like, that's a big dude.
And then Eddie Hall.
Who's that?
Edward Hall III.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with this guy.
Who's looking just as strong, big, and
massive,
strong as ever. Yeah, just huge.
You look at, what's funny about Eddie? I watched the documentary again recently.
He's so much
and
smaller.
You look at how much smaller he is there compared to how he is now, less than 2 years later.
That's insane.
It is. It's crazy.
Yeah. We could talk for an hour about Eddie Hall. Gerhard Van Staten, Lori Nami, and Kilkowski. So does this event have a deadlift?
Pretty tough. It does have a deadlift, so that's not good for Kilkowski.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully it's light enough for reps. And so we got load and drag, log lift, truck pull, deadlift, overhead toss, stones. I'm going to say it's Eddie Hall and Kilkowski make it through.
Let's see. So do we pick Devon to win the load and drag?
I do. Or Kilkowski.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that'll be good. Two of them, they better be in the same heat.
Probably won't.
That'll be good. Yeah, of course. So, yeah. They're not thinking about it like we are. Log lift.
Kilkowski.
I guess, Eddie Hall.
Eddie Hall will win that. Kilkowski will be up there too.
Yep. Truck pull. That'll be Eddie Hall will do well at that. Kilkowski for how light he is.
Yeah,
I'm sure
very
we'll do well. Deadlift.
I think Kilkowski, Derek Devon, I feel is his biggest, is the third in this group, and he's not the most amazing he's not like exceptional at deadlift either. So I don't think Kilkowski is going to lose a lot of points. Maybe
if it's a car deadlift, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It just says deadlift, so
right.
And there are actually.
Well, all of the equipment stayed in Africa last year, so that's a.
Well, hopefully they
it probably is a car then.
Hopefully they protected it. They didn't leave it out. They're like, huh. Let's see.
It's been salvaged.
Overhead toss. Well, I was saying protected from the elements, but yeah, I could also, some of it walked off. Overhead toss. Kilkowski's crazy explosive.
Mm-hmm.
That's not Eddie Hall's best event.
So I think, Group 4. I think Eddie Hall and Kilkowski. It might be the easiest group to predict, in my opinion.
Well, the only other variable I said is if because Eddie Hall historically overhead toss has not been his best event.
It's good
Derek.
Enough.
I don't know if Derek Devon got between them, I think he would have a shot. But yeah, it's looking pretty good for Eddie Hall and Kilkowski.
So let's Group 5.
I'd say I almost think Group 5 is the I don't want to say the easiest to predict, but Zagaris. Zagaris is good.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know
underrated.
anything about. He is. We don't know anything about Olu.
He got fourth. He got like 4th at Maryland's Strongest Man. So
okay.
In the amateur contest and overhead press like 320 or 300. So
Nick Best, obviously very good. Let's see, we got a squat in here, and his squat. He can squat well, and we've got Peeman. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. He's from Iran.
Well, yeah, he did a contest and did fairly well. I can't remember. Okay. I think it was one of Glenn Ross's contests I saw him in.
Okay, like Ultimate Strongman?
Yeah, unless it's a different Iranian strongman. But I think it's pretty cool that we're getting a couple countries we don't it's fun to make it a world event. You want like the 30 best guys or whatever, but I still think it's cool like to get representation from different countries. So
and then this Terry Hoolins, you ever heard of him?
Yeah.
Is Terry Hollins pretty good? He's made the finals, like 9 times?
Yeah, 9. Something like
that. And then
who's counting?
The only person that's made finals more than him is Z, right? Is he the only one?
I
think Z's made it 10 times.
He's trying to win at 5, so.
Yeah, so.
Probably.
So let's see. So we got Terry and Z. I would say they're the top 2, but Nick Best is still a threat to Terry Hollins.
Definitely. So event by event, load and drag. Nick is actually, that's the thing.
He's good at it. He's good.
He's good at moving and with doing front carries. I don't know as much on how good he is at a drag.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure he'll train it in the hot Vegas sun and be fine.
Yeah, he'll be that. I have to remember that when Nick says how nice it was in Botswana that he lives in Vegas. So.
Yeah, he pretty much trains in Africa year round.
Right. Yeah. Squat Z.
You don't count Z out from that.
For no reason, I'm going to assume the guy from Iran is good at squat. I
Okay.
I just feel like I'm just getting this picture in my head of this guy with giant hairy legs, like that kind of, like the setup, and I just assume he's going to be good at squat. They have, big, weightlifting background. They probably squat a ton. Just pure no rational reasoning or research at all. Nick, of course, is a Masters world record in the squat, I believe, at least American. Just did really well at a powerlifting meet. But again,
nine something, nine and
yeah,
change. I
yeah,
think. Yeah.
little 9 something. But it is, the setup is a lot different than a powerlifting style squat. But I feel like I saw some of his training from last night, and he looked very comfortable doing that setup. It looked to be going well. I'm sure Terry's training it pretty hard. Fingers, I'm gonna give
It
that.
looks like, so.
Go
Not
ahead.
only is Terry training it hard, but you gotta love his commentary about squat
Oh,
suits,
every
and
time.
it's awesome.
Yeah, Terry's definitely one of our favorites. Fingers, gonna give that to Terry.
Yep.
Overhead press, Nick and Terry both struggle.
It depends. I would say if it's Viking or Axel is going to make a pretty big difference because.
Well, I don't think it's gonna be an axle. I think it'll be that weird circus bar,
Oh yeah. Okay,
but
circus
still
bar.
similar. Yeah, if it's
But last year I think they called it the when they wrote out something like this. I thought they called it like the circus press or something. I don't know why they didn't write it out like that.
You can't expect anything in strongman to go off of what we've seen in the past.
No, this will probably be completely different. They're actually going to be 8 groups with 4 guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the elephant carry.
A
I mean,
max
Nick
distance
can dig.
carry. I think
He can dig deep on stuff like this.
Mm-hmm. But then
But then Terry plays stuff smart, so he'll know exactly what he needs to do. And Terry's also a hell of a stone loader.
Yeah. So I think this will be a very interesting. We can't. Denise is freaking underrated.
Yeah.
And we just completely bypassed him right now, showing so he's just quiet. He might quietly just squeak on in, based on these events.
Now the fanboy in me though obviously wants to see Terry.
Yeah. So,
but I like Nick best too. So, but I want to see Terry make his 10th final because I feel like last year it was just, he was right there, and then Janashia just came up and took it. So I think Terry's going to fight for that 10th.
Yeah, and he just bested Janashia at Europe's.
He did. He got like his revenge, if you will.
Sure.
And it would have been cool if they were in the same grouping, but I think they probably moved Janashia up a couple ranks after his performance last year.
Yeah, he seems like he got put in that. Yeah, we don't need to go back to Group 3, but it seems like it's that spot where there's not like a clear favorite, and it's just like, let's group everyone that's really good together. Where like everyone, you go, okay, this one has Z, this is Z's group, this is Shaw's group, etc. So anyways, I think this last man standing stone thing is going to be very interesting in Group 5.
And then do we address how everyone thinks that Z's kind of like done because he lost so much weight? Or do we just say that they're wrong and he'll prove them wrong? What do we say with that?
I don't think Z shows up to a Worlds if he doesn't feel like he can win.
I absolutely agree. So, he would not be there if he didn't think he would win his 5th final. If he didn't think he's going to.
Yeah, so I feel like Z knows Z, and that's why I'm not even putting any of those variables into it. He might do some other contests like, last year he did the, Arnold Hong Kong or whatever, when he's not 100%, but he's not going to go to Worlds. When can you remember him going to Worlds and be like, oh, he wasn't ready?
Nope, never.
Yeah.
Not since
his first.
What was
his
appearance,
first? Whenever he broke his patellas or something. Like,
tore him in the Conans.
Was it a Conans or was the Atlas stone?
Conans. He tore both patella tendons.
And he dropped a stone on himself too, right?
That I don't remember. Craig Pfister remembers, I'm sure. I'm sure he has a video on a VHS tape or something.
He'll message me it went Tuesday morning after this goes up and show me.
All right. So
Terry versus Nick, Stones head to head.
Terry.
Yeah, I agree.
Terry. He a little bit better stone loader.
Yep. And let's you want to address the events in the final, just talk about them, but we'll do a whole, like I said, I don't feel like you can really predict what's going to happen in the finals until you know the players. We know, we assume the big players, the Shaw, the Z, the Thor, the Hall, etc.
Those four.
Yeah,
That's it. It's set up for this is set up for those four. And I really, like I told you before, I really thought they were going to set it up for, because you're never gonna. I'm not gonna say you're never gonna see this again, but there's a strong possibility you will never see. You'll never see two other guys, both with 4 titles, going head to head for their 5th. You will probably never see that again.
Okay. Yeah, on that, I see where you're going, and that's how I'm going to end this. Is I'm going to say it's bullshit that is not the main storyline this year.
It is, dude.
It's fucking. It's a disgrace, and it's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's disrespectful that for the past decade we've had this amazing rivalry between
the best rivalry in the history of strongman.
But yeah,
it's better than John Paul and Kaz. I know I don't mean to be sacrilegious there, but it is not by a ton, but it is. I think it's the best ever because you've got social media, you've got all of these little spats here and there. You've got one guy that's won 5 titles, Marius, and you've got both of them going to join him, and then one of them, they're going to want their 6th, so they can go down as the greatest ever.
Yeah. So and then they've pretty much swapped back and forth for how many years now?
Almost a decade.
Yeah, almost a decade. The two most no 2 athletes have dominated a decade of World's Strongest Man like Zydrunas and Brian Shaw have, and that's not the first that's not what is the storyline here for going into Worlds 2017 by the fans, by the promoters, by the media, ourselves included, is disgraceful.
Yeah, if there's I don't know, Pierre Gunnar didn't go to Worlds last year, right?
No.
Okay, because he was the one that was mostly updating the Excel sheets for us for a while. So I don't know who's doing the Excel sheets this year, but I can tell you for sure when it comes down to the stones, and if it's the 4 of them are left being pretty close, I'll wake up at 3 a.m. and constantly refresh my browser to see what happens there.
Yeah, I will too. But yeah, I just think that, and it's an interesting year. We got 3 static events out of 6. No real moving events. We have a medley of flip and drag, which we already saw tested at Europe's. And a truck pull.
Squat and a deadlift. Man.
Yeah, I think I was told
that's huge.
I think that was the last time that was done was like 98, 99 when Yoko Holo won, where there was a press, a squat, and a deadlift.
Yeah.
I'm imagining that the deadlift's going to be for max weight. I think a lot of people like it, but it's obviously set up a certain way. And I feel, Eddie Hall's an amazing athlete, and he's fun to watch, and he's a lot of strongman, if they wanted to, make this a career, could learn a lot from Eddie Hall, and he's one of those athletes that just captivates people. And he, if he wins, it'll be, it's just like everything's kind of coming together like piece by piece for him how he wants if you go by the documentary. But the storyline is 2 athletes, probably the 2 best ever to ever live, are going for their 5th title, which would tie the record. That's the storyline.
And I'm gonna be let's see. Even though I live in America, I want it to be Z. I want it to be Z. Because, and I'll tell you exactly why. Because I don't think there's no comparison that Z is better than Marius. Despite having 1 less title, he has 8 Arnolds, 4 first at Worlds, and then how many seconds? I don't remember, 4 or 5. Mm-hmm. There's no question in my mind that he's the strongest person that's ever lived. So yeah. I want him to, if he's going to retire after this year, I want him to get that 5th and at least tie Marius.
Sure. Yeah, and I see what you're saying where Shaw's going to get his 5th title at some point.
He's probably going to get his 5th and his 6th.
And his 7th, who knows? But
Yeah, he probably will.
If Z doesn't do it this year,
it might not happen.
I think the likelihood just goes down from here.
Yep. Percentage-wise, what's it called? I can't even think of it. When something decays, how quickly it decays. But yeah,
depreciates, diminishes, all those.
No, there's some sort of scientific term. Someone will correct me and post about it. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think after this year, you can't count him out, but there's just not as good of a chance. He keeps getting hurt, more and more often. So. I mean, come on, dude. 20 years in strongman.
Yeah, it was his first World's Strongest Man.
25 years in strongman.
98, 99.
Yeah, no one. That's a legendary career that you have to put. That needs to go down in the books. Yeah. Anyway, we could spend an entire episode talking about that.
Yeah, but yeah, appreciate everyone for listening. Thanks for joining me today, Mike. You can follow Mike at Chrono Strength. Follow myself at Let Kalle Lift. At Starting Strongman, go to store.startingstrongman.com to buy all of your things and all of your stuff. You can sign up for Strongman coaching one-on-one through myself or Mike at strongmancoach.com. Just fill it out and give us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes and tell us how wrong we are. Oh, and I do have a $15 bet with some anonymous person, some random person on Facebook. They remind me every time I talk about this, so I'm sure they're listening, and they're going to remind me that I'm going to owe them $15 when Eddie Hall wins after this. But I will gladly take your $15. Anyways, you've been listening to Strong Talk. We'll break down the whole finals and talk about that more as soon as the qualifiers are wrapped up.
There you go.
And we'll talk to you next week.